Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Soul Speak. I am your host, Emily Miller, intuitive guide and healer. All right, so this week we are going to dive deep into the ego self. So I think it was 2 podcasts ago, I had a whole episode over true self and what true self is and how our true self is the us that is meant to is the us that we are meant to be while we are in this lifetime. Okay, so it's the fullest, truest, realized version of us without any of the programming that has been placed on us by society. So this week we are going to dig into the opposite of true self, and the opposite of true self is our ego self. And when you hear the word ego, or whenever I hear the word ego, I think of somebody who's full of themselves. Like they think that they are just like God's gift to this planet, and they have all of this confidence, and that it's something that's kind of like not deserved almost. So ego has just sort of a little bit of negative connotation around it. Whenever you think of somebody who has a big ego, you think of somebody who thinks too much of themselves a lot of times. And then there's also more of like a philosophical term or way that the ego is used. And that is more talking about the programmed brain, the opposite of the true self brain. So the brain that we are using daily and most often, it is the part of our brain that is in the forefront. It is this conscious brain that we are using all the time, because we have a conscious brain and a subconscious brain. And this conscious brain that we are using, the one that we are most aware of, because the subconscious brain we've talked about is just like back here hanging out and holds all of our beliefs. But this conscious brain is the one that we are noticing and using on a daily basis. And so the conscious brain and like the ego brain is the one that is constantly being used to kind of like make our decisions, and it is the controlling part of our existence. It's the one that's like, okay, this is safe or this is not safe. Yes, we should do this. No, we should not. And the ego brain is designed specifically for that. It's to keep us safe. And we have this part of our brain because we used to live in times, human beings used to live in times where we had to like worry about our safety constantly, like our physical safety. We had to be aware of lions, tigers, bears. We had to fit into the crowd. Or the tribe, more like is what it was, because we lived in a completely different way than we live now. Like we have Amazon deliveries now. We don't have to go hunt for animals to eat and survive. We don't need to have a group of people around us in order to stay alive. We are inherently in much safer places physically for our bodies than we have ever been as like a civilization. So that brain that we have is still running on this old process of having to try to stay alive and fit into the tribe. So our brain is working on this like ego brain with all of the programming that we have within it. And whenever I say programming, I mean all of the thoughts, ideas, and beliefs of everyone else that has ever been in our existence. So parents, teachers, preachers, coaches, friends, any social media people that you see, any commercials you're exposed to, any music you're exposed to, any of that kind of stuff is part of this. So The ego brain is the brain that is helping us to stay safe and to keep us in comfort. So anytime we want to try something new, we want to do something different, our brain takes it and picks it up as a threat because it is something that we have never done before. So it's like, scary, scary, scary. Watch out. This could cause harm. It's not safe. And so we operate in this fight or flight system, depending on how your system has been developed. And we want to, fight whenever our ego brain kind of takes over, or we want to run away, or there's also a freeze and we have no action. So it could be you get defensive. It could be that you run away, or it could be that you just freeze and avoid. So there's different ways that your system will react to different things whenever the ego brain takes hold. So mine, a lot of times, is to fight. And not like physically fight. Well, whenever I was little, I probably fought my brother. Well, I did fight my brother a lot. And we used to get in fist fights and stuff. And I surprisingly won a lot of those, if you're listening, brother. So the way that I would react would be to fight, mostly with my words in arguments with people. Whenever they would tell me things that would trigger me, that would trigger that ego brain that made me feel unsafe. And I want to say, no, you're not right. No, you don't have this. So much so that my mom used to always tell me whenever I was little, she'd be like, Emily, you need to be a lawyer whenever you grow up because you just always have an argument for everything. So, I actually did try to go to law school for a minute, but it wasn't for me. So anyway, and I was highly influenced by Elle Woods. If anybody's ever seen Legally Blonde, it's a very convincing argument to make you feel like law school is a fun thing. So anyway, back to this story of the ego brain and how my reaction is to argue and to fight with people. It comes from a place of just wanting to feel safe. It comes from a place of wanting to stay comfortable. It comes from a place of familiarity because our ego brain will react when new information comes in, whether it's new information that you are creating or it could be new information from other people. So when you are maybe trying to make big life changes, you're wanting to try to do something new, do something different, then ego brain can come in and it can start arguing with you. And you've got this inner dialogue going on, saying, Emily, this isn't safe. You can't do this. You aren't capable of this. You don't have everything it takes to do this. And it'll go into all of these different excuses that are very highly representative they look like negative self-talk. And so that really comes in and starts saying, you aren't capable of doing all of these things. And then it can also come in looking like that freeze situation where you're like, I don't even know where to start. And then it comes in as this big emotion of overwhelm. There's too much to do. I can't handle this. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to start. And that could also be another one. And then the flight would be like, oh, this cool information just came in of something that is a really good idea that I think that I could try and do and become this wonderful thing. And then it's like, oh, run away from that. That's scary. Like I can't, I have no idea what to do with that. The cool idea comes in and then you're like, nope, shove it out, be done with it and put it in a compartment somewhere, never to be seen again. Or maybe it does get seen again and then you're like, think about that idea that you had, and then all of a sudden you see somebody else that did it, and you're like, man, I thought of that idea. Why didn't I ever take action on that? Look at that guy. He became a millionaire from making this, soda drink that is made with a healthy sugar or something like that. I don't know, whatever it is. And then how it could look externally is if you are having, somebody tells you something and it's brand new information to you and you've never heard it before, and it challenges your entire existence. It challenges the ways that you've always thought for your entire life. And you're like, that's not true. And they're like, yeah, here's the proof. I've got, da 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 of this idea, and this is exactly what's happening. Here's my scientific proof for it. They could even have a study for it. And then you're going to then argue with them about it because it's challenging anything that you've ever known to be true in your life. And that is really, really when the ego brain kicks in, because we have all these beliefs that we've held for a very, very long time. And so whenever you start to do this kind of work where you are taking radical, full responsibility for your life, and you are really rooting to this belief that we create everything, that I've created all the things that are going on in my life for very good purposes, but we have created them. We know that now. Like, we are the creators of our existence. We are the creators of our reality. Everything that we are experiencing right now, whether it's good or bad, whether you love it or you hate it, you created it. And so whenever you are getting into this belief system now, this new belief system that you have control, it gets scary. It gets scary to that ego brain, and the ego brain wants to fight it because it's not how they've always lived. And another way that this can even pop up, if you're in that flight mode, is if instead of like arguing with people about things that they give you, you just avoid them. Like, you don't go around those people anymore. You might, let's say it's like a parent or something, and your parent has this thing that they're trying to teach you, and parents teach us things for our entire lives, not just whenever we're young. Like, little kids always want to fight their parents about stuff. Whenever they tell them, you have a new bedtime, or you have to do homework, or you have to do these things, kids are always fighting it. Whenever it's, new things. Think about, we just got out of school for summer break, and I was just thinking about how whenever school comes back into session and you've had a whole entire summer off of just doing whatever you wanted, schedules are kind of loose and nobody's really worried about bedtime, and then you come back to school and it's like, okay, we have to get back on schedule now. We have to do all these things, and they are for our good. And then little kids are always the ones like screaming, yelling, fighting. I don't want to go to bed. And we as adults know, like, those little kids, they need that extra sleep, but they're fighting it because they're not used to that schedule anymore. So their little tiny ego brains think, oh, I know better. I've been living this way for the last, 3 months over summer. I don't need any sleep. And we're like, yeah, you do, because you're going to wake up and be the grumpiest little children ever if you don't get your good sleep. So that can be like a situation where you're just kind of like on a very small level with the kid situation, but they're fighting these things that they know in the subconscious brain that are actually good for them, but in the conscious brain, they don't want to take the responsibility and change those things because they've been so comfortable for that long amount of time over the summer, and then now all of a sudden we have to change. And so that's just like a very small example from a kid point of view of how we fight those things. And then the flight situation is just avoiding the people in general, like just being like, nope, I'm good. Like, I don't want to spend time around them. And so as an adult, and you get to that part whenever you're going to be around your parents, and your parents have these ideas and things that they are wanting to keep and hold around you, you just kind of start avoiding them, and you're maybe not going home as often. Maybe you don't call them as often. Maybe you don't want to tell them the new things that are going on in your life because you were avoiding flighting away from them and not wanting to give them the information of the things that you are having that's new in your life, because you don't want them to give you that response back. So you just avoid, you flight away from them. And then the freeze, again, is just like, I don't even know how to respond to that. Maybe then you are just like not saying anything to these people. Sometimes then people might mistake your freezing for a different sort of personality trait and thinking like, oh, well, this person, I try to talk to them about stuff and then they just don't have the conversation with me. They don't respond. They don't talk about it. And it can be like almost like you seem a little aloof, or like you don't care about what they're saying, because you just don't engage in that sort of conversation, that sort of relationship with that person, because you just don't even know like how to respond to them, because you're like, I don't know what to do with this information. It's so new. It's so different. It doesn't go with everything that I've ever known before. So you just are like, what do I do now? And then people can maybe take it in a different way. So there are those sort of reactions that come about, and they are all driven by the ego brain, by this brain that's in the front that is taking charge and is the one that can kind of cause problems for us whenever we are trying to learn new things, do things that we've never done before, and think and believe about ourselves in ways that we never have before. So the ego brain will fully take over. My husband is my biggest reflector for me. And it's so funny. Like, one of his biggest pet peeves with me is that he will tell me something and it will be an idea that he has, or something, even if it's like a TV show to watch, or a way to do something with my business. And we'll be like talking with each other and bouncing ideas off of each other. And he tells me, oh, you should try it this way. And I'm like, no, why would I try it that way? And here comes my fight part in. I'm like, no, why would I try it that way? That's so dumb. If I did this, then this would happen, and da 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 da. And I'll just go off on a tangent telling him how wrong he is about this idea that he had that challenges my ego self and challenges the way that I've always thought and felt and believed about doing something in this certain way. And I'm like, no, this is what I think I need to be doing right now, and your idea is wrong and it's dumb. And then probably sometimes it takes me up to a year before I like settle into this idea that he's presented to me. And he's like, what? I told you this like 6 months ago, and you said it was the dumbest idea ever. And now you're coming to me with it as your idea. And now all of a sudden it's a good idea. And I'm like, yeah. And he's so frustrated by that. And it's just, I have to come to things in my own time and in my own terms for my ego self, my human self, to get on board with things. And I've gotten a lot better at this now that I've been doing this kind of work, because I know that Source and Higher Self communicate with me through him. And because he is my biggest reflector, we're actually soul complements, which means that we are like each other's perfect match. We complement each other in all 4 areas that make up the soul complement. And so it's really wild to think about this idea that there is a human being that's out there that is made for you to show you all of these really amazing areas that you need to grow in. And I show him the exact same things. Like, we are each other's biggest reflectors. And so whenever these things come up, and I used to get really combative about it and really argumentative about it because I didn't understand the ways that he was communicating to me more of on that subconscious level, on that energetic level, and showing me all the things that I need in order to get fully on my soul path, soul pull, and to be in alignment with that true self version of me, that unprogrammed version of me. His ideas are things that are meant at that point to trigger me, to make me get in that state where I'm like fighting it on an ego level, because my brain is like, this is scary, this is new. And my subconscious brain and my higher self are communicating to me, hey, look at this stuff. If it's triggering you, if it's making you react, if it's pulling up that fight or flight system and it's making you react in that way, then it's something that you need to focus on. It's something that you need to see where you are feeling out of alignment, where you are thinking, feeling, believing in a way about yourself that isn't part of that true self, that me that I'm meant to be on, in this lifetime. And so whenever you are getting these people or ideas that trigger you in the way that they are saying things to you, and then you're getting triggered by them, or even by your own thoughts, it's really a communication from source and higher self telling you how you are out of alignment in the way that you are thinking about yourself. And it's saying like, hey, this is bothering you. This is disrupting that ego brain. It's triggering you. It's making you feel a certain type of way. So let's address that. Let's see, what is it trying to show me? What is it telling me about me that I need to look at to see where I'm limiting myself? So whenever you get in these really like argumentative, fighting, flighting, wanting to run away from a situation, or freezing because it seems too big, too much, too different from how you've been, that is a big, big sign from the universe telling you, hey, there's something here. There's something really important in this information that you are getting. It's showing you that you have placed a limit on yourself from being able to achieve that true self version of you, that version of you that is able to have, all the passion, all the satisfaction, all the good stuff in life. And it's really amazing that we have these ego brains here that we are so very conscious of, that is really in that front of mind place. And it's a big tell of kind of what's programmed and what's going on in that subconscious brain, and what sort of things are just kind of running on automatic play. They're just going, and they're going on loop, and they're creating things in your life that don't feel good. So whether it's with relationships, with your job, with your body, these ego brain moments where we get in that fight or flight are big, big tells letting you know something is going on in there. Something is going on that is putting a limit on your true self potentials. So whenever you get to these moments, whenever you get into these places where you want to fight, you want to flight, you want to freeze, you want to not be in those spots, think about it in this way, like what is it communicating to me? What is it telling me? Why am I scared of this thing? Do I feel like it's too big? Do I feel like it's too much of a change? Do I feel like it is making me challenge beliefs that I've had, and why is it making me feel that way? Why is it making me feel like it's challenging all the beliefs that I've ever had? And so these moments come up a lot whenever you are changing your life, whenever you are changing the way that you have been acting and being and existing in this lifetime. So the ego brain is just there to let you know that you have these moments where it's communicating to you that you are limiting yourself and that you are showing yourself that this isn't the way that I want to be anymore. So this week, I want for you to think about that whenever you have these moments that get scary, that get big, that get in times where you want to fight or you want to freeze or you want to run. Think about, why am I feeling this way? What is this trying to communicate to me? Where am I playing myself small? Where am I limiting myself? Where am I holding myself back? How is this trigger? How is this ego brain showing me something that I need to change in the way that I am feeling in order to get all the really good stuff in this lifetime, to get to that true self version of me that is the me that's living completely in alignment with all of my desires, where I get to have all the good stuff, where I get to have all the cool stuff, where I get to feel really good in my physical body and the world around me. And also, don't forget to sign up for my newsletter, where you guys can receive exclusive invites to my live webinars and Q&As. There is still the opportunity for free mini reads. If you want to get to the root of any of your own ego problems that you are seeing in your life right now, sign up for a mini read and we can address a couple of those. And tune in next week. We are going to go next week deep into the subconscious brain and the difference between the ego brain and the conscious brain and the subconscious brain. We'll go into a lot of information about that. So tune in next week and have a gorgeous, gorgeous week.